Hey guys, today we are going to be analyzing the brand new Rocketear episode. This was episode 17 of season 4, and let me just say, this had to not only be one of my favorite episodes yet, but one of the best episodes of season 4. As always, before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a tea on the show you love. Now, let's get into it. So the episode begins on the field where we see Carapace and Cat Noir battling a bunch of dinosaurs. But not only that, but we are introduced to a brand new character, which Thomas revealed to be named Annie or Anne on his Twitter. Thomas even explained that she is the youngest genius scientist of France in the Miraculous universe. And now I'm actually really excited to see this character because when you look at her and when you look at most background characters in Miraculous, she definitely stands out and looks so much more detailed. And I don't think they're doing that for just any reason. So with that being said, I have a feeling that we might just see her in upcoming episodes again, and even one day maybe get akumatized. Once the battle is over and we see all the heroes retreating to de-transform, we get our first glance at the new Rena Rouge, or should I say Rena Furtive. After Nino gives back his Miraculous, Ladybug notices that he looks awfully sad, which is when we see Nino ask, why wasn't Alya there? And obviously, Ladybug has to come up with an excuse, and that excuse being because we needed just you and not Alya. Ladybug then meets up with Rena, who is actually in the sewers, and asks if they've been followed or if there was any traps that were left behind that she may have noticed. And luckily there wasn't. Just as Marinette is about to leave, she goes on to remind Alya that Rena Furtive needs to remain a secret, as more than ever Alya is so excited to not only have this new name for herself, but also this new look. And with that being said, Marinette even says, even Nino needs to believe that you won't be Rena Rouge again. Now, the crazy part is that towards the end of this episode, for the first time, we see Alya betray Marinette, in the sense that when Marinette asked her to specifically not tell anybody that she still has the Fox Miraculous and is still the holder for it, Alya still went on to tell Nino the truth.
I was in shock.
So much has been being revealed this season, and the fact that Alya didn't comply with Marinette's rule once again is leading me to believe that we might, and I mean might, just see Bunnix return, and not for the sake of fixing one of Marinette's mistakes, but possibly one of Alya's. Now, Miraculous Mexico had confirmed a while back that no, Alya will not be losing her memory about knowing about all of this, but considering all the secrets that were revealed in just this episode, who knows what's in store for the next episodes and the future seasons. Now, going back on track to the episode, Marinette continues to try to do her best to comfort Alya and explain to her that she cannot tell anyone, and she's been in this position for so long. This next scene I found so adorable, and we see Nino resting against Alya's legs, but Alya of course looks so uncomfortable and guilty because she knows what she has to do. And then the words finally come out and she says to Nino, I'm no longer Rena Rouge, and I'll never be her again. And while Nino is relieved, Alya still feels so guilty because she knows that she's lying and hiding the fact that she still has the Fox Miraculous and is helping Ladybug more than ever. Now, this is when we see Nino ask Alya if she wants to go to the movies, which before she can say no, Marinette tells her there's time to go and we'll meet later. Now, this part in the movie was hilarious, but also so cool, because for the first time, or at least my first time, we got to see Rena in the anime form, and can I just say, she looks gorgeous. Now, Nino doesn't take this movie lightly, and gets jealous over the fact that in the movie, Rena says, we were made for each other, to Cat Noir. And so after the movie finishes, Nino notices that Alya is still frustrated frustrated and sad, and he's beginning to keep a closer eye on her. The thing I found pretty ironic with this episode is that it gave me so many flashbacks to the episode Truth, which was episode 1 of season 4. We see Alya having to make up so many excuses to protect her secret identity, and just as both Nino and Alya are about to get ice cream from Andre's, Alya notices that it's time for their night patrol, and just as Nino looks up, he sees this of Cat Noir, and this reminded me exactly of this shot of Ladybug. This parallel is so beautiful because we see Cat Noir in this sunset background leaping so majestically into the air, and then we see this night shot of Ladybug also leaping so beautifully into the air, and the parallel, it just made me so happy. Later that day, Nino checks out Alya's new post on the Lady blog, which is of her talking so highly about Cat Noir, and this made Nino so angry and convinced that there's something between Alya and Cat Noir that he called Adrian. And look how adorable Adrian looked laughing in this scene. And also, can we talk about how beautiful the animation was in this episode? I even thought it was so good in the episode Senti Bubbler, but this episode, chef kiss. Now, not only is Nino misunderstanding the post that Alya made on her Lady blog, but even Adrian at this point thinking that he made Alya accidentally fall in love with him. And this is when we see Nino dress up as a detective, and at one point he goes to say, "The city, night, and solitude." Now, I can't confirm if the word solitude will actually be the word used when Rocketear in English comes out, which, by the way, it is coming out in English on July 31st, but if it is the case, then that is just another time that we are hearing and seeing about this word solitude, as we even saw it previously back in the episode Soul Crusher on one of the scripts for a film. Now, this has got me thinking, considering when this word has been mentioned, it often includes Adrian in the situation, and considering how Adrian feels towards the end of the episode, putting everything together is making me really concerned for how Adrian is going to be emotionally towards the end of this season. And so we finally see this clip and the meaning behind it as we had saw in previous trailers, and I was so surprised to see so many people actually believing that Cat Noir was in love with Alya, because all that was happening in this moment is that he was just making sure Alya wasn't in love with him, which she obviously confirms that she is not. However, since Nino was literally filming this behind one of the buildings and couldn't hear any of the conversation, he took this very much the wrong way and sprinted off crying, and this literally made me want to cry. So then, if you didn't think Nino dressing up as a detective with a mustache wasn't enough, the next day at school, we literally see him in this
Creepy area in the school
where we had previously seen Julika in the episode Guilt Trip come to when she was crying, and there he has a whole desk set up with a radio and everything. He brings Adrian to explain that he now has proof that Alya and Cat Noir are more than what he just thought, and Adrian is in disbelief. Adrian goes on to explain that this is a huge misunderstanding, and I feel so bad for Adrian because in the next 2-ish minutes of this episode, he is literally getting verbally torn to pieces because Nino, 1, exposes that Alya is a superhero, she is Rena Rouge, 2, that Nino is a superhero and he is Carapace, and that 3, they've known each other's secret identities since the beginning, and Ladybug was the one who handed their Miraculouses when they were both together. And now all Adrian and or Cat Noir has ever known is that the secret identities must be protected at all times, and the fact that he is just understanding and learning that Nino and Alya have known each other's for so long is mind-blowing to him, considering how protective Ladybug is with letting Cat Noir know their identities. Now, as I've said before, I don't exactly blame Ladybug for doing what she does and avoiding telling Cat Noir Noir her identity, considering what went down in Cat Blanc. But what Nino just did and told Adrian just made this situation 10 times worse. Nino even says, "You don't know Cat Noir like I really do because I'm from the team." And oh my gosh, if I was in Adrian's position, I would have been dying to just say, "I'm Cat Noir." He even says to Adrian, Cat Noir is always rejected because Ladybug thinks that he's annoying. Like, you just really broke your best friend's heart. And obviously, this leads to Nino becoming akumatized, and we see Cat Noir transform, but it's not just any transformation. It's his sad transformation. Now, some of you guys had explained that we've seen him transform before and be sad, and it was in the Christmas special, but like, this is the first time we're seeing it happen in the series. And @Akumatize on Twitter even tweeted this, and I really don't think this is the last time we're going to see Cat Noir transform, and he's going to be sad. Not too long after, we see Nino and her Rocketear battling against Cat Noir, and as Cat Noir is trying to explain the truth, Rocketear is so furious inside and doesn't want to believe anything he says, so Cat Noir literally throws his staff to try and show Rocketear that he'd never want to hurt him and that he doesn't want to fight him. And this literally broke my heart, because he let Rocketear do whatever he wanted to him, and even says, "You see, I don't want to hurt you." And just as Rocketear is about to finish Cat Noir off, we see Ladybug and Rena Furtive do their magic and use the lucky charm, which was a projector, to show what really happened and what they were saying. Guys, I'm getting chills as I'm about to voice this next part, but we see Alya run out and grab Rocketear, and Nino, under the mask of Rocketear, says, "I'm so sorry, Alya," and wipes his tear. Nino yells out to Shadowmoth and says, "You can keep your stupid powers," and breaks out of the akumatization just like Alya once did. You guys, they are the power couple. And after Ladybug does her miraculous ladybug, Shadowmoth's final sentences are, "Love and secrets do not go well together, Ladybug, and I'm sure that you have a lot of them." Now, you guys know Shadowmoth always goes on to say, "I will get you next time," or anything really to make himself feel good after losing for like the 100th time. But this time, I really don't just think those words were any words, and I'm going to be talking about my theory about this all in just a sec. Finally, we see Nino receive a magical charm, and Nino apologizes to Cat Noir, but Cat Noir goes, "Everybody has doubts sometimes, even me." And I feel like for the first time in a while, Ladybug did a little bit of a checkup on him and just asked him if everything was okay, which obviously Cat Noir goes on to say, "Yeah," and just lies. And we even get a pounded scene right in front of Adrian. Adrian then goes on to rant to Plagg about how he can't believe Ladybug not only gave the Miraculouses to both of them, but they literally know each other's identities. And while Plagg is trying to comfort him, he also is saying that she's the guardian and these are her choices. And the episode ends with Alya on the phone with Marinette saying, "Don't worry, I'll fix things." And literally says, "Do you trust me?" Which Marinette says, "I trust you." Alya says, "I'm still Rena Rouge, but now I'm hiding." Like, what? Okay, now it's time for the theories that I've taken away from this episode, and my gosh, I'm freaking out. So to do a little bit of a recap, Cat Noir is questioning Ladybug more than ever, and in the end card, not only is Cat Noir looking the complete opposite way, but if you take a closer look at the background, it appears that he is standing in front of a more cloudy area, whereas everybody else like Alya, Nino, Ladybug, and Rena Furtive all have the pink bubbles which normally appear when a character is looking at another character and they're in love. And not only does Cat Noir have a completely different setting behind him, but we also see him looking up towards what appears to be the moon. The moon. And as we know in Miraculous, the moon symbolizes hidden emotions and/or Marinette and Adrian's love for one another. Now, the moon also goes to represent Ladybug, the yin of yin and yang. And so the fact that not only do we see Cat Noir looking up to the moon, which represents his love for his milady with an uncertain and questioning look, this could most likely be foreshadowing in a change of emotions and energy between not only LadyNoir, but as well as Adrianette. And a possible foreshadowing moment to see Cat Blanc return this season? I think so. Now, I know we did see Cat Blanc come in Marinette's nightmare in the episode Senti Bubbler, but I mean like actually see Cat Blanc in action in reality this time. So like I said, do I think Cat Blanc will return this season? Possibly. Things are becoming so heated, and this Rocketear, episode 17 of season 4, seems like it's just the beginning for us to see how this all begins to unravel. And remember, episode 100 was said to be extremely important and necessary to watch, and with this episode, Rocketear, being a couple of episodes behind, and then episode 18 being Wishmaker, it's gonna get intense. But do I think there will be a Cat Blanc 2.0 kind of episode? No. And the reason being because, as I explained in a previous video, the episode Cat Blanc really left no crumbs. So personally, I feel like a 2.0 just wouldn't be as special as it would be for him to just show up in an episode as seen in Senti Bubbler. In this episode, Adrian had even mentioned to Nino, can you imagine Alya falling in love with someone that she barely knows? Now, while this could just be directing to the fact that Alya likes to know all the details, who says this won't make Adrian begin to second guess his feelings for Ladybug? This season has been one, if not the biggest season for Adrianette development, to the point where the two of them almost revealed their biggest secrets to one another, their secret identities. In the season 4 finale plot summary, it states that Adrian will be having to go on a trip with Lila out of Paris for a couple of weeks. And after Marinette finds this out, she's willing to do whatever it'll take to prevent him from going. But to what extent? Will she reveal her secret identity for the sake of love? This villain is set to make his victims take all sorts of risks, and the first person that comes to my mind is Lila. Besides the fact that Adrian is planned to go with Lila on a trip out of Paris, what if Adrian really does stand up to his father, leaving Lila to be the one akumatized and show just how worthy and ready she is to be the next holder of a much stronger power such as the Peacock or Butterfly Miraculous? And again, going back to the idea of a villain capable of pushing its victims to take risks, this reminds me exactly of the episode Valpina in season 1, where Ladybug is about to unveil her identity and hand over her Miraculous for the sake of love and or protecting Adrian, which was an illusion in this case. So now, considering how Cat Noir is beginning to feel, I feel like the only person he won't really feel iffy around is Marinette. And with that being said, Marinette might just be the reason we see Adrian possibly stand up to his father and disobey his rules, which I really think will happen. But could you guys just imagine, as Adrian is going into the car, just as we saw in the New York special, instead of Adrian just going, this time Marinette actually says, stay. Like, she actually tells him the honest truth and her feelings. And considering Adrian is leaving for a while, you'd think that he's going to tell Ladybug about this. But considering the path that he's going on emotionally and mentally right now, he could be getting to the breaking point where he just wants to give up his Miraculous, as seen in the New York special. And this whole moment in which could happen in the season 4 finale might be the moment moment when Marinette and/or Ladybug really realizes that not only has she possibly lost Cat Noir at this point, but she can't also lose Adrien, just like in the New York special. There's been so many parallel moments this season, and I could definitely see this one being one to happen, and especially in the season 4 finale. Now, one of the most noticeable things we need to take away from this episode is that now moving forward, Adrien knows that Nino is Carapace and Alya is Rena Rouge, and Ladybug was okay with them knowing one another's identities. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to and has already begun creating issues between Ladybug and Cat Noir's relationship, which could ultimately lead to a LadyNoir fight. I almost imagine it as if Ladybug notices once again that something seems off with Cat Noir, and when she goes to ask him, he brings it up or even snaps and mentions the fact that she never told him about it being okay for Alya and Nino to know one another's identities while being miraculous holders. And this might just commence Ladybug to realize what an important role Cat Noir plays in battles and how without one or the other, yin and yang cease to exist. So with that being said, what do you guys think? The next episode after this one is Wishmaker, and there are just so many possibilities of which that episode could take us, and I am not ready for it, especially seeing how Cat Noir is feeling after this episode. But as for the next episode, which is actually coming out, will be Mega Leech, which is coming out next Tuesday, July 20th, and it'll be our first time seeing Polymouse, which is Milen with the Mouse Miraculous, in action. But as always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. And I'll see you guys in the next one.